Well, that worked out. For once, you can kind of... Usually you can't really see the camera through the... They put like a big square in the middle of the screen, and you kind of have to space that. You can't really see the background, so I always have to adjust my camera. But for once, I could see through it. And, well, anyways, I'm talking to myself here. But then again, that's kind of what I do on this channel, is I talk to myself. So, you know. Why is it not working? Oops. All right, so everything's operational. That's good. Hello to the one person that's here, unless it's me. Well then, hello me. But had a couple races at Sonoma, Xfinity Cup Series at Sonoma. Both races. The Xfinity race was, in terms of the quality of racing, it wasn't terrible, but I don't know. I just feel like I always get my hopes up for Xfinity to be epic, and I feel like it wasn't as, I guess, epic in terms of the actual racing. But it still had some good moments for sure. Cup was better than I expected. But other than that, still solid race yesterday. What's up, Craig? Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a good evening or afternoon, wherever you are. But yeah, it's evening-ish over here. In between the lanes, hope you're doing good. You saw the Xfinity race, but you didn't see the Cup race. Well, the Cup race was actually, for a Sonoma race, it was quite exciting, I would say. The first half of the race was a wreck fest, and, well, they couldn't stop wrecking. The first 45 laps, there were 7 cautions, and then there was only 1 caution after that, and that 1 caution was the stage break. We saw Denny Hamlin blow a motor. We saw Michael McDowell, Noah Gragson, Austin Cindric, Josh Berry, Martin Truex Jr. twice, Christopher Bell, William Byron. I'm trying to remember who was all in incidents at any point yesterday. Let's see here. Austin Dillon, I think. Maybe no. Josh Berry, I already said. Let's see who else. Kyle Busch was in an incident. Ross Chastain was in an incident. Let's see here. I already said, so I'm going in numerical order here. Briscoe was in Logano was in an incident. I mean, almost more than half the field was involved in an incident, whether it was a single car spin, whether it was just a big pileup like we saw at turn 11. But the second half of the race was typical Sonoma. Different strategies, tire wear in a sense, and it wasn't really even wear. It was just waiting a little bit more to pit, and then Larson just slicing through the field and eventually getting the win. But it was a solid race. You did miss a solid race yesterday in between the lanes. How do you think the racing will be at Iowa for the Cup Series? Asks Micah. I feel like everyone's kind of piling on just because it's a short track. It's the next-gen car. It's a repave. So I don't have high hopes, and that's nothing against Iowa Speedway. It's just the next-gen car is not great at these short tracks, and with how Bell, Larson, and Keselowski talked after the test, I just don't have high hopes for the racing for the Cup Series. Xfinity, I think, is going to be fantastic as always. Xfinity's great everywhere, and at a short track especially, I'm really excited. And they both series, I think, because of the partial repave, I think they both get extended practice time, so I think they get 50 minutes. In fact, I'm going to go, because Cup is practicing on Friday. I know for a fact Cup has extra practice. For Xfinity, I I know it's been a few years, but they have been there within 5 years. But I would assume they're getting a full practice session. So let's see here. I got the NASCAR website pulled up. Yeah. So both are getting a full session. Both are getting a 50-minute session, and I think that's big for all the teams. That's big for Shane Van Gisbergen too, because usually he only gets 20 minutes on these ovals, but a 50-minute session. And he kind of talked about that in his presser, saying that they get to go to an oval where they get 50 minutes to practice, and he thinks it's going to be a big help, big opportunity for him. So getting that 50-minute practice will be a big deal for everyone, but for SVG, it's going to be an extra opportunity, more than double the time he normally gets to try to learn and adapt to a track in practice. So he kind of talked about his post-training in the race, because I don't get enough practice. Once we get this practice time on an oval, and I'm going to use that as part of the testing time rather than the first and second stage. Hello, David. I think I missed your message, comment, whatever we're calling these things, comment. I think that's the official title. But hope you're doing well. Hope you enjoyed the race, as my water bottle refuses to open. I was wrong. In Between the Lanes says that they were wrong on Martin Truex Jr. Did not go back to back. Yeah, MTJ got close. He would have finished second if they didn't run out of fuel, but they spun out twice yesterday. Truex did, and he on the strategy, but they win. At worst, they were going to have a runner-up, but they ran out of fuel on the last lap, so they finished 27th. So ultimately, Truex, yeah, he didn't go back-to-back. It sucks for him. Another race that could have been a great finish, shot at the win, and they finished in the 20s. So Truex has been a frustrating year for him, for sure. Despite still being like fourth in points. Like, he just doesn't have any trophies so far this year. Wasn't able to find any replays on TV. I know NASCAR has replays on the YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't know when they release them, though, so I got nothing for you there. Where do you think Zane Smith will go for 2025 Cup or Xfinity? I mean, yeah, he's got that Trackhouse deal, and it seems the way reports are trending right now, it seems like Shane Van Gisbergen will get that third Trackhouse seat. And if they do indeed limit the amount of charters teams can have to 3, that means Zane Smith is left out. Obviously, Spire has filled up that third seat, so there's no space at him for Spire. There's no space for him at Trackhouse. So the only Cup option for Zane Smith, if he stays under Trackhouse contract, would be he gets leased out to Colleague. And Colleague, they have Hemrick in one car. I don't know what that contract situation is. And the other car is part-time, so you could put him in that full-time if you get the funding. And I know Zane Smith's got some sponsorship, and Better Health has been on his car. Some other health companies have been on his car. He's had quite a few sponsors. He's got good sponsors, so that helps a lot. But it has been a rough go at him for this year. They might want to send him back to a lower series just to give him some more experience down there, get back to his winning ways, rebuild his confidence in a sense. So lease him out to college. Essentially what SVG is doing right now, where he runs Xfinity full-time. They give him a part-time starts in the 16 if they want to keep that 16 part-time. But my guess for Zane Smith right now is if he's still under Trackhouse contract, he ends up at Colleague in either a part-time Cup basis or a full-time Cup basis. That's my guess. I have no leads on that. Just the logic out of what we're seeing right now with how Trackhouse spreads things out. It looks like the way it's going to go is SVG is going to go to Cup and Trackhouse. Zane Smith's going to be left out of the Trackhouse Cup team, but maybe he goes to Colleague. So we'll see what ends up happening. Hello, Steven. I'm pretty confident in one of those two pronunciations. Hey, it's great to see your support for SVG. I think the only way left for Austin Hill to go before he loses all sponsors to just own and get a line of merchandise branded Villain Racing. I mean, Austin Hill's got a good amount of sponsorship. He's got a good amount of backing, but also he's a talented race car driver. So even if he loses funding, he'll find some elsewhere, I feel like. And also someone will give him a chance because, once again, Austin Hill, he does run a little bit hot sometimes. We saw it at Charlotte with Custer. We saw it after the Coda race with SVG. He didn't fight him, but he had some choice words. Obviously, last year with Sheldon Creed at Martinsville, that was the worst of them, if you ask me. I know intentionally wrecking a competitor, that was the worst on track. But Martinsville as a whole, just roughing up Creed and just everything he said after, that was the lowest, I feel like, for Austin Hill. But once again, like, he has these issues with the intentional wrecking and stuff, and just sometimes taking things too personally. But he's a competitor. He's a fierce competitor, obviously, but he's a very good race car driver. He's not gonna get fired. He's not gonna get kicked out. He's not gonna lose sponsorship unless he does something egregious or he says something egregious. So that's out the window. But I get your point. I like the joke. I think that's a funny joke that he should get a clothing brand or he should get merchandise brand saying Villain Racing because, or what'd you say? Yeah, Villain Racing, because Austin Hill doesn't have a lot of friends like right now. He doesn't have a lot of support. I mean, he's got his dedicated fan base, but I feel like everywhere you look, Austin Hill's getting booed. He's getting trashed on social media. And, you heard what he said after the race where he kind of said, what I say, people are going to say I'm wrong. And he could have said, oh, SVG, he had the right to do that. He owed me one after Coda. All good, all fair. It's over. And he probably would have gotten some hate for that. So he had a point there. He definitely gets a lot of hate. But anyways, yeah, that's my take on Austin Hill, I guess. So, and then SVG had some, I'd say I'm going to say it, they were spicy comments after the race from Shane Van Gisbergen. That incident at turn 2, when I first watched it, I was like, Shane's going to send it. He sent it in there because he knows who's in front of him and he knows they're past. But then after the second replay, I was like, he sent it, but Austin kind of pinched him. So maybe 50-50. And what Shane did wasn't as bad as I thought. But then the post-race press conference hit, and they were asking him all these questions. They were asking him, hey, man, after Coda, was that owed? And he said 100%. Like, that was the only words he said. They said, hey, after what happened at Coda, did he owe you one, or did you owe him one? Did you mean to do that? And he was like, 100%. I was like, oh, so he did mean to send that move in there and kind of just bump him up the track. And he kind of explained his process there. He said, look, I know who I'm racing against. I remember what happened at Coda. And you know what? He took a win off me. I wanted to take a win off him. I didn't want to wreck him. I didn't want to send him into the dirt. I didn't want to ruin his day, but I wanted to take the win off him. And that's exactly what he did. He sent it up the track. He gave him a bump. Austin Hill for 7th, 8th, whatever it was. Austin Hill was out of contention for the win. So Austin Hill took the win away from him at Coda. SVG repaid the favor at Sonoma. To me, that should be over. It's done. No more. They cannot like each other. They can race each other a little bit harder because they've both kind of ruffled each other's feathers. But as far as being even or someone needing to get someone back, it's even. As SVG said, SVG got bumped out of the way at Coda. And yes, he did try to bump Austin Hill out of the way on that last sector in turn 15. And he beat up his own car quite a bit there. It was a little too aggressive of a bump, but looking at Coda, as SVG said, Austin Hill took away from him there, and SVG took a win away from Austin Hill at Sonoma, so there you go. But that's just my take. Nothing egregious, nothing too crazy. Definitely aggressive. If there was not a previous history, I would have said it was a little bit dirty, but since they have history, he was just getting them back. For the Cup race, I think whoever restarts up front is going to be impossible to pass, just like North Wilkesboro. I think that's a fair take. I think there's a little bit more banking, so there might be able to have a little bit more of a groove. I know North Wilkesboro at times we saw kind of widen out, but the only problem with Iowa is that upper lane is not repaved, and that new pavement's going to be grippy. It's going to be smooth. It's going to be fast. So I just don't think that there's going to be a lot of passing on the Cup Series side of things. I think Xfinity, I think you're going to be able to do more, but Cup, I don't have the highest expectations in the quality of racing, but once again, it's not fully a track issue. It's just the car, man. Nightmare for Joe Gibbs Racing. Yeah, all 4 of their cars were involved in an incident. Truex spun out twice. Bell spun out once. Gibbs DNF'd from a crash. And Denny Hamlin blew an engine on lap 2. So, as you said, David, that was a nightmare day for them. What's up, Andy? Hope you're doing well. Jono82 with, hold on. Oh, I got to get this right. I'm going to get yelled at. That looks like the New Zealand flag. I see the little red stars there. So that's a New Zealand flag. Kiwi smoke emoji. Couple weeks, he should be winning every road course, or at the very least be contending for the wins, just with his experience, with his pedigree on road courses, and with it being the Xfinity Series. All due respect to the Xfinity guys. There's some very talented Xfinity drivers, but it's not the Cup Series. And Shane Van Gisbergen on these road courses is a world-class driver. He should be winning or at worst contending for a win. If he runs 7th on speed, if he runs 7th at a road course, that is an extremely disappointing day. If he does that in Cup, then okay, you look at the Cup field, there's some world-class road racers there. Kyle Larson, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott, I would argue, just to name a few. I could go through the whole list. I'm behind on comments here. But on the Xfinity side, he should be absolutely contending for the win at the very least. So I think he'll be far and away. He'll have Max Verstappen odds at Chicago. He'll be in the minus in terms of the literal sports book odds. I mean, heck, ending this weekend, he was plus 250, 2.5 to 1. And after qualifying, he was minus 110. So, yeah, he's going to be the heavy favorite at every road course this year. And when it comes down to it, he should be. He should be winning all of them, whether it's the Roval, which is I know that's a road course style that he's never been a part of, just with the road course and the oval portion. When it comes to Watkins Glen, he should absolutely be winning that one. When it comes to Chicago, he should be winning that one. So, yeah, that's just my take on it. I thought I was... God, Cloudy 341 Blade, do you ever have a not funny comment? That's an accurate one there. I mean, seriously. That first half of the race, it felt like Detroit. They couldn't go 2 laps without crashing each other or blowing an engine. So, your guy, Denny Hamlin, he started the trend of cautions. I'm just kidding around with you. But for real, though, yeah. I'm fine with a couple of spins and crashes and, mixing up the strategy, making it exciting in a sense. But it got a little absurd there. By caution number 5, I was done with it. I was like, okay, guys, let's get back to normal here. Let's go back to green and let's just have a normal green flag Sonoma run, please. I had to wait till stage 3, but we did. We got there. Andy from New Zealand, love your channel. Thank you for the support, Andy. Thank you to everyone from New Zealand, Australia, United States, wherever you're from. I appreciate it. I know a lot in Australia and New Zealand are very curious in Shane Van Gisbergen, how he's doing over here in the U.S. Very curious about the other drivers who have come over. Obviously, Brody back last August, but then just a couple days ago. Well, actually, yesterday. It's Monday. This is called the Monday after. Yesterday was Sunday. Is it Tuesday in New Zealand yet? In Australia? Because then technically I could say a couple days ago and still be right. I'm getting off track. But we saw Will Brown, Cam Waters. We saw them make their Cup Series debuts. A little bit disappointing in terms of the result, but they both had their mechanical issues. Cam Waters got involved in a couple of incidents and had suspension damage. We saw Will Brown just had mechanical problems all weekend long, so it sucked for him. Second in fantasy still. We will check those fantasy standings. I forgot about it. I set my lineup on Wednesday, and then I just completely forgot. I had someone in my lineup who sucked. I think it was Byron. Yeah, so that was rough. Are we really going to see a SVG championship for 2025? I think he's a bit of a long shot for the championship. But it is this format. And those of you who have watched me for a long time know how much I hate this championship format. So Shane Van Gisbergen winning the championship is very possible because of this format. That first round has a super speedway and a road course. Honestly, I think he can get out of that first round. Second round will be tough to get out of. He's going to have some stiff competition, and it's going to be at all ovals and normal ovals, non-super speedways. And if he gets a Phoenix, he finished 6th there in the fall or in the spring. All he's got to do is see the and he's the champion. This format, man. But yeah, I mean, technically it's possible for sure, but he's racking up those playoff points. That's really important. I know there's a comment somewhere down here, so I'll get to it. But Daniel Berry Sports Highlights, hope you're doing well. Cloudy341 Blade says, Austin needs a reality check. It's about time someone puts him in his place. Still not over Martinsville. He caused all that drama for what? He's a hypocrite. Racers race him the same way he does to them. Yeah, as I said, he's rubbed a lot of people the wrong way since that Martinsville incident, and I still think that was his low out of everything that he's done. The on-track incident with Custer was the worst on-track thing, but as situations as a whole, he apologized for the Custer penalty. They did not appeal it. The Martinsville thing was bad. He roughed up his teammate. He tried to wreck his teammate. What did he do? He said a bunch of bad things. Everyone at RCR was yelling at Sheldon Creed, and he spoiled Sheldon Creed's big news that he was going to Joe Gibbs Racing. He was saying, I can't wait for him to get out of this team. And just that whole situation was just terrible. I felt bad for Sheldon Creed. And Sheldon Creed, you know, he roughed uphill too, but he had to win to get championship 4. So, yeah, I just hated how Austin Hill handled that situation. It's just been, in terms of the fan respect that he's had, it seems like it's gone downhill since then. He's gotten a lot of boos. He's got a lot of, you know, social media hate and keyboard warriors, as he said. So, yeah, he's just not done himself a lot of favors because he's a really talented driver. He's won so many races, but he shoots himself in the foot sometimes when it comes to the fan aspect. JSMR, Aussie here. Ambitious move by SVG. I thought he could have waited as he had 3 laps to make a clean pass. Think this would come back to bite him. Once again, yeah, who has taken a win off you. Race car drivers always remember. They always talk about it. They remember. And you see the guy next to you on this restart, and you remember what happened to him, what he did to you 2 months ago. Ooh, he's not getting an inch. So whether it was justified or not, maybe that's not my call to make, but Shane talked about it. He said that, you know, he took a win off me. I owe him one. So I'm going to cash that in while I have the chance. So, yeah, for sure. I think you've got a point. Austin Hill doesn't see it that way, then you have a point. This could come back to bite him. You know, he could wreck him out. He could take him out. If it comes, he could wait till the playoffs, and, you know, SVG could be leading late, and he could punt him, you know, at Charlotte at the Roval. So there's a lot of different ways that this could go. But once again, I still look at the count between Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill. I see it as, I almost missed. I see it as even right now. Austin Hill got him at Coda. Shane got him at Sonoma. This should be done. They can have a fierce on-track rivalry in terms of, you know, racing really hard for position, racing really hard for the win. But when it comes to wrecking each other, bumping each other off the road, like, I think they're good there. Whoever does it again next, all right, you have escalated this. We are at a, let's see, what point are we at? Has Ward been declared yet? I guess technically they've had one shot fired, another shot back, but then they've kind of tamed. I'm not going to make this a war analogy. That could go so wrong so many ways. So playoff points just count at the start, kind of like a head start in the playoffs. Yes, Gary, it's like a head start in the playoffs. So the way the playoff points work is Shane Van Gisbergen has 2 wins, 5 points per win. So that's 10. And if you win a stage, you get 1 playoff point. So that is a grand total of 11 playoff points. So what those 11 playoff points do is right now Shane has 11. And let's Ryan Sieg makes the playoffs on points. He doesn't win any races. He has no stage wins. That means Shane Van Gisbergen will start that first round of the playoffs with 11 more points than Ryan Sieg. and let's say both of them advance into the round of 8. Well, the points reset, but you get to keep those valuable playoff points. And let's say Shane wins at the Roval. So that's 5 more playoff points. So now he's sitting at 16 to start the round of 8 versus Ryan Sieg 0. So you get to gather up these playoff points by winning races, winning stages, or if you finish top 10 in the regular season standings, you get some more playoff points. So right now, Shane is actually 10th in the driver standings. So he would get 1 bonus point for finishing 10th in the driver standings. So right now, he actually has 12. But obviously, that's a constant movement. He could fall out. He could come back in, out, in. But right now, he's 10th in the standings. He does have a playoff point from that, but that is not locked in. The wins and the stage wins, those are locked. Those can't change. He's got 11 points to his name. The only way they could be taken away is if they do something illegal with the car and they get hit with a points penalty. So just don't do anything illegal with the car and you get to keep those valuable playoff points. People are really hyping this Iowa race because it's new to Cup. Let's not forget it's a short track, and we were racing here with the short track package, and they repaved the bottom. Keep your exactly Cloudy 341 blade. Just for the Cup Series side of things, keep your expectations low. It's going to be a big show. I know they're having a bunch of concerts out there. I know they're having a bunch of parties and sponsorship events. And I'm excited for Iowa. I'm excited for Iowa Speedway, the residents of Iowa, everyone within close proximity. They finally get. But in terms of the quality of racing, let's not lose our minds here. Short tracks have not been good in this next-gen car. So we need to lower our expectations a bit. And once again, that's nothing against Iowa, nothing against Iowa Speedway, nothing. Speaking, while I've got you here, Australian and New Zealand people, specifically the Australians, you guys produce some of the greatest punters. I know there's some New Zealand ones too, but I'm going to name a few. Some of the best punters in American football. Tory Taylor, I think he's Australian. He punted for Iowa. Iowa football is known for punting. Iowa football's offense is terrible. They cannot score. They suck. So their punter last season was their MVP, and he's from Australia. And we're going to Iowa this week. I just had to bring it up at some point. I lost like 15 viewers talking about Iowa football, so we'll get back to racing. Anyways, I just really wanted to bring that up. Iowa football, Tory Taylor, punting. Punting is winning. Let's go back to the comments. Would you argue that Kyle Busch is the most disappointing driver of the 2020s? Ooh, that is a fantastic question. There's an argument there. He's got, let me do some math here. He had 1 win in 2020. He had 2 in 2022 or 2021. So that's 3. He had 1 in 2022. That's 4. He had 3 in 2023. So that's 7. This is a guy who was winning 5 to 8 races a year from 2015 to 2019. I guess we got to argue that was his prime, the prime of his career. Yeah. I'd say so. Falling off a cliff at Joe Gibbs Racing, not winning as many races, getting eliminated in the round of 12 in back-to-back years. I mean, yeah, I would say there's a pretty good case that he's been the most disappointing driver of this decade so far. But, man, yeah, now that I think about it, it's kind of depressing in a sense. So, yeah, you could argue maybe... I don't know. I think will probably win a road course this year. For sure. Obviously, he's run top 5 at a lot of them. He had top 5 speed at Coda. And top 5 at Coda, but he got spun out late or he had a penalty late. I can't remember what his problem was there. And then obviously top 5 yesterday. And, you know, you look at Watkins Glen, he's always had speed there. The Roval, he's always had speed there, even in the next-gen car. He should have won that race in 2022. But everyone talks about how he's bad at the road courses in the next-gen car. That's just not accurate. It's not statistically accurate. Like, he's got the most top 5s in the next-gen era on road courses. Like, he's not bad at road courses. That's a terrible take. He's not winning as much. That's statistically accurate. But to call him bad is That's a bad take. So I think a win at any road course is possible for him. But we'll see. We'll see when it ends up happening. My guess would be Watkins Glen or the Roval. Chicago, I know he finished third last year, but they kind of lucked into that one with some strategy in that race. But he did have to hold his own there late. I hear that some of a few NASCAR fans and drivers don't like the road courses, which I find strange, being that your rules allow for some of the best road course racing that I've seen, says Dan Jazz 2000. Some fans don't like the road courses. Some fans just don't like certain tracks, whether it's Sonoma or Chicago or Coda. So I some of it is a track issue or a specific track. People don't like specific tracks, but I've always liked road courses. Watkins Glen growing up was always my favorite. We had Watkins Glen and Sonoma as our two road courses. I always leaned towards Watkins Glen, and then we added the Roval. I still think the Roval is the most unique track in NASCAR. Coda getting added to the schedule, I think, was a great addition. I still think it should stay. NASCAR has one of the most diverse in all of racing. We got short ovals, we got super speedways, we've got road courses. We've got about that one anymore. But NASCAR truly, last year they had the most diverse schedule. This year they still have probably the most diverse schedule in all of motorsports, but they don't have that dirt aspect anymore. But we got a street race, we got intermediate ovals, we got short ovals, we got super speedways, and we got traditional road courses. So I've always liked the road course racing, but the biggest problem right now is the next gen car does not race well. The big brakes, the big tires, it's just harder to make moves. It's harder to make passes. And ultimately, they just need to do something with the car because the tracks are not the issue. Watkins Glen is still a fantastic track. We've had some fantastic racing at Watkins Glen. We've had fantastic racing at Coda. Look at that finish at Coda this year. But Cup, can you tell me what happened at Coda this year other than William Byron winning? Probably not. So, yeah, ultimately it just comes down to the car right now. But I love road courses. I think they're unique and all that stuff. In between the lanes, asking for my favorite paint schemes from the Cup Series this weekend. Chase Elliott's black and gold, number 9, looked very nice. Denny Hamlin finally had FedEx back, and they didn't even make it 2 laps. That was kind of funny. I'm trying to think if there were any that stood out to me. The Kubota scheme always looks good on Chastain. See, I wasn't ready for this. I should have thought more. I mean, there were a lot of normal to build submarines on the 17, 19 Bass Pro Shops. The 20 had Ream. 22 had Auto Trader. That was different. It's better than the boring, just all yellow best car look. But 23 looked good. Columbia always has good paint schemes. I hate the 24 Raptor scheme. Sorry, I don't like it. But I love the 24 schemes normally. 13 by 10 or times 10S. Hello from Nigeria. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Hope all is well in Nigeria. Cloudy341 Blade says, I know a lot of Denny Hamlin brackets are dead. Oh my God. Jesus, man. Well, technically alive. Tyler Reddick is my champion in that bracket. So technically, I think I'm still alive. Is Tyler Reddick still? I think he's still in it. I listened to Denny Hamlin's podcast today, and I'm pretty sure they said Tyler Reddick's still alive, so I live. I think Austin Hill needs to grow up. Yeah, we've talked a lot about Austin Hill here on the Monday after Sonoma. Austin Hill is not humble, and losing SVG will always have it. I'm going to assume that's some New Zealand saying, or, no, that's an Australian flag from Hackney. That's an Australian flag. See, I know the difference between the flags. I'm bragging about it because I know a lot of people who can't tell the difference. Me here, I know the difference. You put them next to you. Don't worry. If Larson isn't in the championship for trash the format completely, well, we are beyond the point that this year will be the reason to trash the format, Micah. It should have been trashed a long time ago, but that's just me. I don't have time for a rant. I'm behind on comments again. Second straight week. thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for being here. I'm behind on comments. When I'm behind on comments, it's a good live stream. That means I'm either talking too much or that means there's a lot of comments. So I appreciate you guys interacting here. Really helps me out a lot. I wonder if it's the RCR team as a whole being toxic. I can see why Reddick, Harvick, and Creed left the organization. Toxic, Jesse Love will be next. I mean, you could argue anyone leaves because it's toxic from their point of view, but I'm not in the doors of Richard Childress Racing. I don't have a perspective, so I can't give a fair opinion on that. Obviously, the way things ended with Sheldon Creed, I'm going to say for sure that was toxic. For sure, after Martinsville, it was toxic. But yeah, I mean, there's sometimes things don't end pretty. Tyler Reddick, RCR, also pretty, but had a couple moments late in 2022 where they kind of reconciled. I think Tyler Reddick pushing Austin Dillon to the win, getting Austin Dillon in the playoffs. I think that was a big message from Tyler Reddick to Richard Childress, like, hey, man, look, I'm sorry the way I left. I'm sorry that I kind of left you hanging here and screwed you, but here's kind of a little bit. I know I might not be able to fully pay it back, but I'm going to push Austin to victory, get him in the playoffs, and give us all a chance and try to make everyone happy again. So I think the RCR Reddick thing has softened a little bit since the actual announcement. And there's been a couple of instances, but there's probably a little bit of bad blood there still. As for the Harvey thing, that was so long ago, and I was like 12 when that happened, so I don't remember it all. Welcome to NASCAR and NBC here at Iowa. Yeah, looking forward to NBC. Fox missed a couple replays yesterday. Showed a couple fans while Trux was running out of gas. Showed a lot of commercials, but welcome back, NBC. I can see Hill getting quite nasty and vengeful over this incident. He obviously does not like losing. Is not a very humble guy, says Hackney. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone likes losing. It's just that Austin Hill likes to express it a little bit more, it seems. But yeah, we kind of talked about it earlier, but Hill, for sure, if he doesn't view it as even, then he could strike back in a sense. He could do something down the road, but in my book, it should be even. Anything else at this point, then you're just escalating it further than it needs to go. I say the most disappointing in 2020 minus Harvick is SHR. That's a team, though. We were talking about individuals disappointing in the 2020s. Staffamatio NZ says, coming in late, have we talked about the finger? No, we have not. If you guys did not see the community post that I had yesterday, there was a shot of Shane Van Gisbergen doing his drifting and burning out around Austin Hill, and Austin Hill sent him a message. He told him he was number one, but he didn't tell him with this finger. He did it with this finger. I'm not going to do it on camera. So he did it. I made a community post on it. Someone else took the picture. He put his watermark on there. I will get on Twitter to give the proper credit because it was such a fantastic picture. You gotta give the photographer credit here. He got a perfect shot of SVG doing his little celebration, and Austin Hill telling him he was number one. The person who took the picture was Justin Sheldon Photography. Yes, everyone go give that picture a like on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, wherever he posted it. But Justin Sheldon Photography with a great picture from Saturday's race with Austin Hill telling him he's number one. Has almost 3,000 likes on Twitter. I don't know. Just might want to use it later for a meme. I like to make memes. By the way, guys, I do have Twitter, and I do post some dumb memes that I make. I have homemade memes, including Shane Van Gisbergen memes. So you can go follow me on there if you want. If you don't, I fully understand. My tweets usually suck. So totally understandable if you don't want to follow me. It's at Nikolai P. Culp. For those who care, it's just my name. The Chicago Bears could use SVG as a punter. So here's where I disagree with you, Cloudy341 Blade. They drafted Tory Taylor. Tory Taylor won the Ray Guy Award last year. Punting is winning. Iowa football won 10 games last year. Punting is winning. I got you, Australians. I know how proud you are of your punters. I know Shane is from New Zealand, but there's a lot of Australian punters in the National Football League. Oh. I don't like road courses because they replace some of the good tracks. For example, Road America replaced Chicagoland, and I can never go to NASCAR again because of it, and it was a birthday gift. From that perspective, Cloudy 341 Blade, then yeah, for sure, that's disappointing for you, but Road America is a good track, but it just did not provide great NASCAR racing. That's a hot take, apparently. But I'm sorry. Other than Tyler Reddick's first win, I can't think of anything significant from the Cup Series races at Road America. I think an Xfinity race should still be there because Xfinity race is great everywhere. But I know they got a dedicated fan base in Wisconsin at Road America, but the racing itself just not great. But losing Chicagoland for sure sucked. But once again, if we don't keep the Chicago street course, then go back to Chicagoland because I think you should stay in the Chicago area, whether it's Chicagoland or the street race. But I think you should try to keep the street race. Try to keep it. Try to make it a staple on the calendar. Try to make it the best punters of a rugby ball in the world. It's our national game. Yeah, the All Blacks, I know they're like the best rugby team in the world. Is that accurate? If that's not accurate, sorry to whoever is the best rugby team in the world. I know nothing about rugby. I just know it's kind of cool. I got a rugby ball somewhere, actually. It's not over there. It's in a closet. It's either in my closet or it's in a storage closet. I'll bring it out for the next live stream if I can find it. Kyle Busch was arguably the most dominant driver of the 2010s, and heading into this current decade, I expected him to do what Larson's been doing. See, that's tough because the next generation, but Kyle Busch is also kind of getting up there in age, and he's not to the point where he's what the kids call washed, but he's taken a little bit of a step down for sure. And also, RCR has not been great this year as a whole. Austin Dillon is out of the top 30 in points. That is yucky. But Kyle Busch team have struggled this year, both parties. Kyle Busch has had his moments. The team has provided some bad race cars. So it's in those last 3 years, those last 4 years at Gibbs were not good. So he hasn't been to a championship 4 since that 2019 championship. So yeah, it's been a disappointing 2020s for him, but I don't know if I 20s, I was expecting him to dominate, to be the guy. I would say I was expecting him to be one of the guys, but to say he was going to be the guy, I don't know about that. But I know we can solve the issues, race in the spring and not the summer. Everyone would agree racing at Sonoma when it's green. It would be amazing, especially if you like taking pictures. Yeah, Sonoma Raceway, always posting on their Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever other social media. Look how pretty it is. We have green hills. It's so pretty. It's the perfect scenery, but you're never going to race this time of year, so suck it. And it's like, what? Man, it's so pretty. Just add it to the tail end of the West Coast swing. You know, go Vegas, Phoenix, Sonoma. Wait. Vegas? No, go Vegas. Graphical order. If that makes sense. There's a reason I don't make these decisions, guys. There's a reason I don't have any power. Who do you think is the biggest personality in Cup, Xfinity, and Trux? Fantastic question. Personality. Biggest. So hard to judge. So hard to like definitively say, oh, this guy, like, he's got a personality. I've always thought Bowman's had a fun personality. He's always been joking, and he's got some great interview clips. He's a funny guy. Is he the best? I don't know about the best, but when I think of great personalities in the Cup Series, Bowman comes to mind. Kyle Busch comes to mind. Denny Hamlin comes to mind. Joey Logano even comes to mind. But the best, it's hard to definitively say. On the Xfinity Series side of things, as much as people don't like him, Austin Hill's got quite the personality. Sam Mayer, he's got personality. Good Josh Williams on the Xfinity side. In the Truck Series, Trux is always like, I feel like they're always changing drivers, so it's harder to keep up. Nick Sanchez, maybe. He's got decent personality, but it's a hard one to judge. So maybe I'm not the best person to ask that question. Chase Elliott bump and run. Yeah, man. Yeah, if you didn't see it, man, Chase Elliott rear-ended. He bumped, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's just he saw Chastain dump Busch, and, Elliott's had some harsh words for Chastain in the past. He's had an incident with Chastain in the past. He's had, as I said, he's had words for Chastain saying that someone needs to do something in terms of fighting him and whatnot. But Chase Elliott, I'm posting the video that's on Twitter. I posted the video here in the comments. You can click on that link. It'll take you. But Chase Elliott in turn 11. Whew. He bumped Chastain out of the way. So that was something. I remember reading a bunch of things on Twitter of people who saw it at the track, and I was like, well, sorry, Fox didn't give me a freaking replay. Chastain, they barely showed Truex running out of fuel. Man, I don't like to be the one to add on to the hate for Fox, because at times, I feel for the most part, Fox gets overhated, but there are times when it is really bad. But yesterday, oh my goodness, we had a last lap spin, and we had 0 replays. 0. I don't even know if it was acknowledged. Everyone was so busy talking about Truex running out of fuel, Kyle Larson winning, talking about how it's the last race of the season on Fox, which they're allowed to do, but my goodness. Show the replay of a guy getting dumped out of a top 5 spot. If it was for 23rd place, okay, who cares, All right, skip over that. I'll be a little bit mad, but not too mad. But that was for a top 5, and this is the guy that got dumped for the top 5 spot. I mean, that's a guy who needs those points. That's a guy fighting for the playoff spot on points. You can't miss that. I mean, they didn't miss it initially, but they missed the replay. They didn't show the replay. They didn't show an interview. Very disappointing, that specific moment. Chase Elliott 2024 redemption year. He has been the most consistent driver this year. He has yet to finish outside the top 20. His worst finish, I think, is 15th, 16th. Despite him not having the wins, despite him not having the stage wins, despite him not having the laps, like a bad day for them is 15th, but they're going to finish 15th. Like, they're not going to wreck. Elliott's not going to over push the boundaries. He's not going to wreck himself. He's not going to have an issue. And there's a reason that they're second in points. And this is where the only problem is that if this was the Winston Cup format, oh boy, Chase Elliott might be the championship favorite because of how consistent he is. But due to this playoff format, due to the playoff point system, finishing second in the regular season, winning the regular season title, it doesn't mean anything. So ultimately, Elliott, as happy as he is, I'm sure that they're running consistently well, that they've got 6 top 5s on the year. I'm sure they are beyond pleased. But they need wins, stage wins, and they don't have them right now. They need those playoff points, and they don't have them. Once again, if this was the Winston Cup format, Chase Elliott would be as happy as he can be. But under the current playoff system, they need more points. And I'm not saying that they need to start wrecking, fighting for the win, or they need to start win or bust, but they need more wins. It's the fact of the matter. But regardless, it's been an extremely impressive bounce-back season for Chase Elliott. I find it funny when SVG does the burnouts, nobody complains. But when Ty Gibbs did the same thing at Indy last year, everyone complains. I mean, you know why. Everyone knows why. It's because it's Ty Gibbs, and everyone doesn't like Ty Gibbs because he races for Joe Gibbs, because his grandpa is Joe Gibbs, because he's wrecked people before. He's ruffled feathers. The only time I have a problem with it is when you're like almost wrecking people. If like SVG had it under control, he knew what he was doing there. Ty Gibbs, I don't remember the burnout, but I think he had it under control if I remember correctly. But I don't. As long as they're not wrecking people, as long as they're not putting people in danger, I don't care enough. Look, I'm an SVG fan, says SVG number 97. I know where your loyalties lie. But appreciate Hill's talent and fire. Hill shut the door on Shane when there was an overlap. However, that's not smart driving. Hill would have been better off giving racing room and challenging him at the next corner. Yeah, it's great to see. You know, we see all these on-track rivalries, these on-track scuffles, and it's always, you know, one side, your sucks, you have done that. The other driver saying, well, your driver shouldn't have done that. He sucks. But it's nice to see when there's a nice middle respect. To see a Shane Van Gisbergen fan say, yeah, I'm not a fan of Austin Hill, but I respect him. He's a talented driver. He can win races. He's good. But he should have approached that different. He should have done it different. So I respect it. I respect it. I truly do. If Richard really cares about the number 3, replace Dylan with someone worthy and who's good. Dylan has been mid in NASCAR since his rookie year. I still think they should put Kyle Busch in the 3 because, oh my God. Just imagine the backlash, imagine the hate, imagine the boos, imagine just the response. Hilarious. I would have gotten so much Kyle Busch number 3 gear just to make people mad. But they kept Austin Dillon in the 3. So, you know. It's whatever. Josh Williams is so mid, says Cloudy341 Blade. The only reason he got that ride is because of what he did last year at Atlanta, and what has he done since? Nothing. He's mid and overrated. Josh Williams, superfan, Cloudy341 Blade says his own driver is mid. But Josh has had a rough start to the year, but Colleagues had a rough year as a whole. Yeah, he hasn't been performing great, but once again, Colleague hasn't. But he has been the weakest Colleague driver. It's statistically accurate. Shane has been, he's the only one with wins. AJ has been the most consistent. He's probably the highest in the points. He's got to be top 7 in points. And Josh has not competed for a win this year. He's out of the playoffs right now, so he's been the weakest of the 3, but I'm not ready to throw a overrated, mid, all that stuff at him. What alphabet grade would you give Fox this season? On a scale of A to F, had some really rough moments. They had some bad spots, as I just did in that little mini rant about not showing the replay of the Chastain Busch incident. So they had some rough moments. I was not a fan of I thought Boyer and Harvick gave some great analysis, but I hated when they insulted each other because it just straight up, it didn't feel natural, and also it just wasn't funny. I think they should just stick to normal, professional commentary. And yeah, if there's a natural joke that fits in, cool. But it felt like Harvick was always joking, yeah, I won more than you, suck it. And it was like, what did he do to you? So I get they're trying to make it lighthearted. They're trying to joke around, but just the jokes didn't really stick with me. Can they just soft? That's just me. Stream's breaking up a bit. My Wi-Fi has been acting up all week. It was acting up last week. I'm pretty sure it's the provider. It's frustrating. I wish I could do something about it. I mean, yeah, whatever. I don't want to get on a side tangent about Wi-Fi. Larson, Kyle Busch passed. Yeah, talking about that, like, oh, these two have history last week. These two had a run-in. Is Kyle Busch going to strike back? I mean, Kyle Busch wasn't going to do nothing. He wasn't going to do anything. And they kind of hyped it up for nothing, but then they didn't even show the pass happening. So, you had that. So that sucks. But yeah, it's frustrating. Just growling. frustrated noises. I don't know what else to say. Cloudy341 Blade says, I see NASCAR and IndyCar love each much. They can't cause cautions in the races. For cautions in the beginning. I didn't watch Road America. I can't tell you what happened there, so I'm a bad person to be asking that. My Micah says his biggest pet peeve with Fox is the commercials and the replays. Commercials always make me mad. It's a motor race. We should not have commercials. I get there's a long race. It's 3-4 hours long, but there's always something going on. This isn't hockey where there's an intermission. This isn't basketball where there's timeouts in the end of quarters. This is racing. We have cautions. We have organized cautions for the stages. We have natural cautions. Load them up there, baby. Load them up in the pre-race. Load them up in the post-race. Load them up during the cautions. Just give me my green flag racing. If you want to put a commercial during green flag racing, go side by side. Split the screen 50-50. Heck, I'll even give you a 75-25. Just show me the racing. Commercials make me so mad. When I have to get on Twitter and read a tweet from Bob Pockerson says there's been a 27-car pileup. Oh, no, I can't see it because there was a commercial. I get that's how they pay the bills. I get that's what they do. But can we please, we're entering a new media rights deal. Can we please alter the commercial rotation? Once again, there's a reason I don't make these decisions. I'm dumb. I'm ranting about nothing because it's not going to change. SVG is a master at drifting and competed here in New Zealand, says Mike. Yeah, I mean, has competed in a lot of stuff. Obviously, supercars is what he was most known for, but I know he's done some dirt stuff. I want to say drifting. I think he drove in rally cars. I don't know if he was fighting for the championship or if it was a one-off. I know he's done some endurance racing, Le Mans, Daytona maybe. But yeah, I know he's done a lot of stuff. I just couldn't tell you what. So, speaking of, yeah, I was supposed to do a 4,000 subscriber special where I react to Shane Van Gisbergen Supercars highlights. Once again, I have the highlights written down over there. I just got to get this laptop situation figured out. I'm almost to the point where I can get a new one. We're almost there, I promise. I'm looking at July. We're going to do that video on the anniversary of Shane Van Gisbergen's Chicago win. So July 2nd is the current plan. So mark it down on your calendars, I guess. It's for you, the Australians and New Zealanders. And that may become the 5,000 subscriber special because we are like 50 subscribers away from the 5,000 subscriber special. As my stream is glitching out, stupid Wi-Fi. I'm really excited to see Lee Diffie in the booth this year. I'm going to miss Rick Allen and his memorable calls. I think Rick Allen, maybe I just think everything is overrated, but Rick Allen has had some great calls. That call he had for Jimmy Johnson's 7th championship, top tier. But Rick Allen, I've always liked his commentary. Yeah, he stumbles every once in a while, but what commentator doesn't stumble every once in a while? Seeing, as sad as I am to see Rick Allen go, to see Lee Diffie in the NASCAR booth, that's gonna be not an out of body. That always sounds bad. That's gonna be a great experience. That is going to be a holy experience. Maybe Lee Diffie is one of the best commentators in the world. I'm gonna say it. And to have him on the NASCAR booth is going to be legendary. He's gonna have iconic calls. Imagine him when he calls that final lap at Talladega, at the racetrack also. But when I watch the replay, it doesn't matter who wins. It doesn't matter how they win. It doesn't matter if it's under caution. I might cry. And he gets to call a championship. Now it's an artificial championship race, but he's calling a championship. It's beautiful. Harvick's corny jokes and lingos. Yeah, I was not a fan of those. And also, I'm like 24, almost 24 years old. I didn't understand some of them. Like, some of them, it's internet slang, like, W-Riz or like yeeted or, stuff like that. But some of them he said, and I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, what language are you speaking? And apparently it means stuff. Am I old now? Am I old? I might have just dated myself there, but yeah, of that either. Like it's 2024. I get you're trying to relate to the young people, but there's a sense of professionalism too, I guess. But once again, what do I know? Put Jamie in the booth. Joy, Harvick, Jamie Mack would be the perfect booth. I think Boyer is good. I like Boyer. That call that Boyer did at Darlington was fantastic. If he can do that, don't you dare make him a free agent. But I like Boyer in the booth. So just get rid of Harvick and Boyer insulting each other, and the booth is perfectly fine. When they do true analysis, when they do their true natural flow and don't go out of their way to do cringy Gen Z slang or to do, oh, hey, Clint, ha, I won here 7 more times than you. Ha, 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 you never won here. When they don't do that, it flows very well. Okay, so just get rid of the silly side stuff, and the booth is perfect. Perfectly fine. Chevy says, it seemed like whenever there was some action, Fox presenters would continue their long-winded sentences, then would... Helicopter. Shiny. Continue the long one. Eventually talk about the action. In my opinion, as soon as there's action, cut to action. Yeah, and that's the big problem is the direction, the producer, the person making the call to switch, to hit the switcher. You got to be quicker on that. You stop showing fan shots. Show the fan shots during caution. Coming back from a commercial, that's fine. That's great. Doing an ad, a voiceover ad. Just please. When Martin Truex Jr. is running out of gas, I want to see Martin Truex Jr. running out of gas. Is he going 50 miles an hour? Is he crawling? Is he still at 80 miles an hour? I want to know if he's going to make it to the line. I don't want to see the crowd. Okay? People show up to have fun at the race. And yes, if they get on TV, it's a thrilling experience. I was on TV, Mom. Turn on Fox. I'm on TV. And that's a great moment for them. I'm so happy for them. But does it have to be while Martin Truex Jr. is running out of fuel, man? F1 has the same problem. F1, as a whole, they put together some great broadcasts. The booth flows perfectly. For the most part, showing the speed of the cars is incredible. The onboards, the radio, everything's great. But every once in a while, someone will actually be playing defense on Max Verstappen pretty well, or they'll have a chance to pass Max Verstappen. And no, let's look at these fans in the seat wearing their $150 hat and drinking their margarita. And Max Verstappen got by. Oops, we missed it. Sorry. Full screen replay. Stop showing fans, respectfully. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater. If I'm a hater, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood today and I just don't know it. David picks William Byron to win Iowa. Iowa! Let's talk about Iowa. We got no notes on this. We have no previous winners. We have no statistical evidence on this racetrack for the Cup Series. We look at the short tracks this season, though. Denny Hamlin has been really well at the short tracks. I think he's won at Bristol. He's won at Richmond. He's won at the Clash. So that's 3, 2 points paying wins. He's run well at Phoenix. He's run well at Martinsville. So Denny Hamlin, I think, is going to be the favorite. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and Brad Keselowski all tested at Iowa, and I think that's a big deal. They got extra laps. They got the tire test. They know what it's going to be like. I think that's an advantage for them. And those are 3 guys who could contend for the win. Kyle Larson's fast everywhere. Christopher Bell is fast almost everywhere. And also, Toyota has been really good at the short tracks. Ford is really good at the short tracks. Keselowski, RFK as a whole, they've really found their step at this part of the season. So I think those are 4 guys to look for. But Joey Logano is my early pick. Why? Joey Logano wins at every new track or every new repave. He won the repave at North. He won the pole for the repave at Sonoma. He won the first ever LA Clash. He won the first Cup race at Gateway. He won the first Bristol Dirt race. When it's a new track, when it's a new repave, Joey Logano is the guy. He's on the cutoff right now. They've looked good at the short tracks. Joey Logano is my early week pick. Let's see who else people are picking. DW says, is that DW as in like D. Darrell Waltrip? Oh, let me dream, guys. You got our Kyle Larson in SVG. He drives like Luke Dale or like Dale. He's the new Intimidator. That's an interesting take. Interesting. Definitely. This is the side effect of having kids, Keelan and Kevin Harvick, to catch up to the times, old man. I guess maybe it is Keelan giving him all these slang terms. Because I don't know some of them. And then I feel old. I don't think I'm old. I'm not. I've got some people who will tell me I'm not old. So, good enough for me. NBC is going to make Fox look like amateurs this year. I don't know. Maybe NBC's worse. Maybe NBC's better. I don't know. I'm not going to judge it before we even get there. Harvick and Bowyer is the embodiment of Shaq and Barkley. It's like, now that you say, I think E-Step said this last night. It's like they try to be that, but you can't. You cannot be Shaq and Barkley. That is 100% unique. That is one of the most dynamic duos in all of sports televisions. You're not going to replicate it. You can't. You can't force it upon people. Okay? If it happens naturally, if it happened naturally where Bowyer and Harvick, they kind of had this like fake beef or they kind of throw insults at each other because they know they can take it and it flows well and it goes well and it's actually funny, great, perfect. I'll let it go because it's actually entertaining. But when it's forced, when it seems genuinely insulting to each other, it's like, all right, man, can we just not do this? But yeah, and also the difference between Shaq and Barkley and Harvick and Bowyer is that Shaq and Barkley do a halftime show and they do a post-game show. They aren't calling the game live. So yeah, it's a bit of a difference. Safest pick for Iowa was Logano. Micah, old saying, great minds think alike. Though mine's probably less great. So yeah. I caught up on comments. It took, oh, no way. It took 69 minutes to do it, but there we go. We caught up on comments, so cool. I will look at the fantasy standings now. In between the lanes. If you are looking, if you still happen to be here, I know it's been a while since you asked. The Fantasy League, if anyone wants to join our Fantasy League, I know it's late in the season, but we're just doing it for fun. There's absolutely no, like, you're not going to get trashed if you have a bad week. If you finish last in the standings, this is purely for fun, entertainment, fantasy NASCAR. There's no prize. There might be a prize next season if I can get enough money to get a prize for one of you guys. But we have a fantasy league. Here we go. Here's the link. Feel free to join. Once again, it's all for fun. It's all a good time. I just want you guys to have fun outside of the YouTube community. I want you to go make a fantasy roster, be competitive, and have fun. And we can talk about it every Monday. So let's read off those fantasy standings. Dan, the Jets fan, is our leader. I think it's been a couple weeks since I've read these standings. Dan, the Jets fan, is our leader. He has 2,941 points. 8 points behind him is Zerkman 95. Right behind him is Big Hat LJ. Pins _22 is 4th. Dr. Zero is 5th. RT Racing is 6th. I am 7th. I was 10th the other week, so I will gladly take 7th in the point standings. 8th place is It Factor Autosport Incorporated. 9th place is PC _18. 10th place is Hell on Wheels 24. 11th place is Matt Smith 53. 12th place is Otter Bear 8. 13th is Micah MLB 15. 15th is Shane Van Hamburger Buns. 16th is 45 and 2311 fan, and 17th is Tyler Hernandez. So once again, feel free to join our NASCAR Fantasy League. It's all for fun. It's all a good time. The standings are shuffling up each and every week. And once again, it's just for fun. Set up a lineup. You can go really aggressive. You can go Larson, Hamlin, Byron, Elliott, Trux is your lineup every week and just try to get those consistent guys to get you points, or you can just make a meme lineup. This week, that meme lineup would probably be David Starr, Kaz Gralla. Is he a part of the meme lineup? Austin Dillon and Zane Smith and I don't know. Just meme lineup. My sleeper pick is Josh Berry. He's been really good on short track that no one's raced on. Josh Berry is known for the short tracks. Ford, historically, in the next gen era, has been better at the short tracks. Micah, well, you might come back here next week. That might be it. Now, I'm not going to sit here and pick Josh Berry, but as an underdog, as a long shot, not a bad pick at all. Do you use Facebook as a part of your social media network? No, I do not. I created a Facebook account for a class in college that I used for about 1 week and then deleted my account. I do have a Twitter, though. I'm active on the Twitter. Regret, for the most part, because Twitter is, oh my Lord. But anyways, I get a lot of news on Twitter. I follow all the big NASCAR reporters, find out news there, so it's kind of important at this point. But I do have a Twitter. It's just my name. You can go follow it. I post memes. I said this earlier. I post memes. Dumb memes, but they're NASCAR memes. So Shane Van Gisbergen, Kyle Larson. I'm trying to think of the recent ones I've done. I can't show you my screen because I'm not connected to the actual laptop right now, but I can show you one of the memes. Hold on. It's going to take a minute. But this is the meme I made from Sunday. I like the "you just lost" 2 memes. But this is the Shane Van Gisbergen one I made. I also make a lot of Chris Busch or Prosper, Texas ones. That's one of my favorites. This is the Shane Van Gisbergen one I made. There you go. So get a good look at it. I know, it's so beautiful. Anyways, so if you like dumb memes, there you go. You can go follow me. I'll put my name in the comments. And then I think I still have an Instagram. Once again, I made an Instagram for the class, the same class. And I never use Instagram. But then I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it a personal account, and I'll just post NASCAR stuff. And I did. But then I forgot about it. And it's been like 3-4 months in between posts. I did something for Darlington, but I haven't checked since Darlington. So, yeah. I don't really check that one much. I'm terrible at checking on that website. SVG should do a haka for when he wins it. For when he wins, it'll be funny seeing a 6-foot white guy doing it. That would be kind of funny. Yeah, that'd be funny. William Byron won Iowa and Xfinity in 2017. Well, there's some statistical detail there. I wouldn't be surprised if they separate Harvick and Boyer. I don't know. I don't know what Fox's grand plans are, but I guess we'll see. Let's see. We talked about fantasy. We talked about Xfinity. We talked about Cup. Oh, yeah, I forgot to do a Canadian Grand Prix. I didn't forget. I didn't have time to do a Canadian Grand Prix recap because Cup started as soon as the race ended. Entertaining race, man. The rain always makes it fun in F1. I wasn't sure if Russell, Norris, Verstappen, or even Piastri or Hamilton would win the race. Oh, Ferrari. Ferrari. They are so silly. But good race. Just a quick little recap. Yeah, it was a good race. Wasn't really sure when or who was going to win. There were different points I thought different guys were going to win. So the rain made things interesting. Passing was able to happen. It was a good race. Verstappen ended up winning anyways, but it was still a good race. Do you think Austin will take revenge on SVG or move on? I think he should move on. That's my opinion of it. But will he? Austin Hill's unpredictable, man. He should move on. Someone needs to tell him to move on. But if he doesn't, then, well, it's just going to keep escalating. So he should move on. Will he? Oh, I really don't know. It's 50-50 at this point. Chase Elliott will probably win road courses and catch up with Jeff Gordon. I don't know. It's hard to tell. He's got a long career left, so I guess maybe. Pat McAfee mentioned NASCAR, IndyCar, and F1 today. Well, that's neat. That's cool. That's great exposure for NASCAR, IndyCar, and F1. The American Talk Show rotation. Let's see if there's any news going on right now. I got a few more minutes here. Well, that is all I have today, I guess. Thank you guys. Last week was our best stream. This week just topped it. So thank you guys all for showing up, for supporting. Support for the channel, I mean, not just this week, not just this month, but this year has been insane in a good way. It's been awesome. I appreciate each and every one of you. I mean, it's been I truly appreciate it, each and every one of you, for supporting the channel, whether you like a video, whether you watch a video, whether you're subscribed to the channel, whether you just subscribed, whether you've been subscribed since I had 86 subscribers. I remember those days vividly. So I truly appreciate each and every one of you, because I know the old days where I did streams and it took 30 minutes just to get a couple people. We consistently have 30 plus today. So I appreciate it, the support. I truly do. All the viewership we've had, all the subscribers. I'll try to catch up on comments here tonight, but if I don't, I'm sorry if I miss your comments. Sometimes I miss comments. I'm sorry. But thank you guys again for tuning in tonight. It's been the Monday after. We'll be back next week for Iowa. We've got a cup race. We've got an Xfinity race. It'll be fun. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. It'll be fun. And whatever news happens this week.